Hey, Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios reopened this past week at Walt Disney World. Part of that phased reopening process we've been talking so much about. Obviously, Magic Kingdom Park, as well as Disney's Animal Kingdom theme parks opened first, and then a couple days later, we saw Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios. So let's ask around and see what everybody thought of this reopening process. They had a couple of days to figure out what to do, how to get things right with Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. Tyler, let's start with you. Epcot Hollywood Studios reopen. What'd you hear? What are some of the wins and perhaps downs?
I mean, honestly, I mostly heard positive, it seems like, from a lot of what's been going on over at Epcot and Hollywood Studios. I haven't really heard much negative stuff. Besides, I think the one negative thing that I heard personally was in the beginning of the day, Rise of the Resistance was not doing their first pre-shows, which sounded like a bummer to me because I feel like that sets up that attraction so well without those pre-shows. You know, it doesn't feel quite as grand and spectacular, but like other than that, good things. People have seemed to be behaving, and I don't know. From afar, seemed like things were pretty good.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Katrina, you hear anything different?
I've heard everything was great. I haven't heard any bad things. I was like checking on Twitter and Instagram and everything, and I've heard nothing but the best.
Yeah.
Besides, people couldn't get like Rise of the Resistance reservations that are like on the first like couple tries, but then they got it like at the 4 o'clock or that like the last one that they did. But yeah,
it sounds like they're doing your virtual queuing for that attraction throughout the day. So now there's several opportunities throughout the day that you can sort of join into that virtual queue. It's not like it was previously where you had to get there early in the morning and hope to God you got onto that virtual queuing for the attraction. So now several times throughout the day, they open up the virtual queue space and you got to try and jump in digitally.
I mean, you have like 3 chances. So, I mean, that's great. And then like I saw someone saying that they were able to ride Slinky Dog 3 times.
Wow.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
Like that would take you all day.
You bet.
It really would.
Garrett, did you hear anything about your Orlando home reopening, especially with these 2 parks coming back online?
Yeah, from what I heard, all good news, and from the videos I've seen and pictures and like my friends that have been able to go to the parks, everything looks good. They say it's hot, but hey, that's Orlando for you. The only thing that was probably bad was that the Rise of the Resistance, there were some glitches where they would try and log in and then their name wouldn't pop up on there and then they would retry again, but it would all be gone. So, but that's Rise of the Resistance for you. It is a lawless land over there where they where there's constant glitches. Even when the parks were filled with people, you still had a hard time. So that's just how it is. But it was crazy to see queues like Soarin' that are only 5-minute long waits, and seeing the partitions everywhere, all the plexiglass, especially on a ride like Test Track, because one thing that makes Disney unique with its queues are how they go up and back, all the switchbacks are. While at Universal, you typically have one straight line. Disney used a lot of winding. So Disney got really creative with that queue space. But overall, everything looks good. And I have to say, the probably most creative thing is how the characters are doing meet and greets and interactions. It's very clever with what they're doing over at Epcot, but we'll talk about that probably a little bit later. But overall, great stuff.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's kind of telling that the negative things we heard were all about Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of funny, but that just an observation. But anyway, go ahead.
No, that did seem like the focus. You're absolutely right.
Falcon. Nothing mentioned about Smuggler's Run, your favorite attraction.
Yeah, because nobody gives a crap.
Wow.
Like honestly, no one probably wrote it.
I heard that Hondo was down. I did hear Hondo was down.
He quit
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
because it was so bad.
Wow.
He's like, I'm out.
He said, I will not be
Here's
part
my
of this
2 weeks
attraction.
notice.
Wow.
Done.
Off he went. Well, it's hard to hear anything bad outside of that Rise of the Resistance because there just doesn't seem to be much in terms of Epcot and Hollywood Studios reopening. And Garrett had referenced there that character meet and greets are not so much the meeting part anymore, more of the greeting from a distance. And we're seeing various videos and clips of what that looks like coming out of Walt Disney World at this point. We saw in the Magic Kingdom a lot of sort of processionals, more so than anything. Characters at a distance sort of waving and saying hello. And now we see in Epcot, as Garrett was mentioning, Winnie the Pooh Pooh, I think most famously, out trying to catch his butterflies out in these sort of open grassy areas at a distance, looking very adorable, very cute. And then on top of that, we are also seeing sort of Joy from Inside and Out frolicking about and waving at a distance. And I got to say, it's nice to see characters doing things. You know, like I didn't realize how neat that would be.
It catches you off guard. You're like, oh, wait, is that Pooh running around? Like, I mean, I think the best video I saw was when he was like frolicking around trying to chase butterflies and then broke one of the spotlights by the tree.
Oh, geez.
He was going a little crazy.
That's
but
so Pooh.
I know. Gosh, what a Pooh.
Oh, bother.
It was so cute. I think I thought that was really great seeing like Joy frolic around and stuff. It caught me off guard for a second. I was scrolling through and I was like, whoa! And then I was like, wait, okay, now it's pretty cute.
She was like, isn't this creepy? I was like, I think it's pretty cool, actually.
It was creepy at first because I didn't really expect what was happening. I thought it was just like one of those, like YouTube things, like TikTok thing that someone like created.
Oh,
and they were like frolicking around. And I'm like, that's a little creepy. And then I kind of got the idea. And I was like, oh, no, that's pretty clever.
But yeah, if you think about it, they really don't do much storytelling or like kind of immersive kind of, I don't know, storytelling again, for lack of a better term, like with the characters, unless they're in like a show or something like that, you know? Like, so it is really nice, like you said, to see those things happening just out at the park, because that kind of actually I feel like it gives those, costume characters more personality than they've ever had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Except for the princesses. They're just like sitting in a carriage and then
being royal.
And they're just like, hello.
Waving and being royal.
That's why the royals aren't as exciting. Like you see them and they're waving, and yes, they're very grand, but the people you like are the Captain Jack Sparrows, the Flynn Riders, the bad boys and bad girls that can do whatever they want. Even Pocahontas would have a little bit more freedom. I think one of the coolest processionals was over in Hollywood Studios, where they had all the characters riding in Camaros that are all painted and customized to that character. Like Vampirina's looks awesome. Vampirina, it's got some pink, some purple, some blues, and she's doing her whatever it is she does. I haven't seen enough of Vampirina to really get into the story. All I know is that she might be a vampire living in America.
What?
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never would have known.
It's all in the details from our Walt Disney World reporter. I will say that watching what we saw unfold with these two parks, it does appear that obviously Epcot can handle crowds that are even, sort of intense to a much better degree than all the other parks, because it's so spaced out. It's such a large piece of property. We did see Disney's Hollywood Studios a little bit of crowding, excessive crowding at some points based on where we're in the park. Mainly, guys, I think that's because what it's coming down to is like half that park is closed. Half that park is dedicated to shows and entertainment. Entertainment and shows are not necessarily back yet. And that's a big piece, I know, of the Walt Disney World experience is, going and seeing, your Beauty and the Beast on stage, going and seeing things like Little Mermaid, the voyage of the Little Mermaid,
Indiana Jones.
Right. It's such a big piece of the Hollywood Studios experience in particular that these performers aren't back yet. These shows aren't in effect. A lot of, I think, union squabbling going on right now as to how they are going to be brought back and in what capacity. So we were hearing that a little bit as to where you were in the park based on the time of day. It seemed like everybody was sort of moving in the same lands at the same time. And so it did feel a little bit more crowded than, say, the Magic Kingdom, but that's probably because you look at the more so like north side of the park where Star Wars launch bay is and the Little Mermaid and Disney Junior and stuff like that. That's all closed back there. The launch bay area is sort of converted into a place you can go relax and take your mask off, and so that space, while you can go sort of stand in and walk around, there's really nothing to draw people over to that into the park.
Interesting. I mean, I guess that makes sense,
Yeah.
but I'm curious to see. I haven't seen like a lot of pictures about what the interior of like Oga's Cantina looks like. I saw what the droid building area looked like, and I was like actually happy that they made dividers. But then I'm like, well, how long is that line going to be? Because now people can't group together and grab your pieces that you want on the conveyor belt. So how long is that line? No one really said. Someone answer me.
That is kind of a sketchy thing, though, right? Because how many people are like picking parts up and then putting them back down on the conveyor belt and just
There's someone in the back with like Lysol as it like goes by. It's like shh.
Yeah, there's a droid back there.
I would hope so. Yep.
Cleaning droid.
Use your resources.
I'm sorry, guys.
Use your droids.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's nice to see Hollywood Studios back, Epcot return, all 4 theme parks. The Walt Disney World Resort now officially online. And I will say, handling things far better than I had even anticipated in terms of going the extra mile, doing things that I didn't anticipate them doing, period. You know, I didn't anticipate them even considering. You know, you look back at Magic Kingdom reopening and seeing things like your Jungle Cruise boats having plexiglass put in to divide people and, you know, to shield certain sections of the boats. And I just feel like there was a lot of thought put into this, far more than I had anticipated. I knew they were going to do a good job and, you know, do everything that they possibly could, but they thought of things I don't think I would have even thought of.
Yeah, I was just, when you sent me that picture, I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was mind blowing.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, we've talked about it before. Universal has been open for, I think they opened almost a month before Disney did, and they didn't do things like that, which I'm not disparaging them or anything, but I just wasn't expecting, like you said, Wade, that they were going to be going so above and beyond with, you know, you mentioned like the Jungle Cruise and also just the Animal Kingdom Safari and stuff like that, having the plexiglass windows up. It's just, it's very cool. It's very cool. I'm glad they're taking it so seriously because it's not a joke, obviously, and just happy that they're doing that.
Yeah, nice to see all around. Great to have the 4 theme parks of Walt Disney World back. We wish them much success, even as Florida pandemic cases continue to surge. We are definitely hoping that Disney has a good handle on things and, you know, we'll be able to pull this off in all the right ways moving forward.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.